Nine Gold Medals by David Lee Roth. David Roth is an American rock vocalist, songwriter, actor, author, and former radio personality. The poem Nine Gold Medals describes an incident that took place in the Special Olympics. In Special Olympics, differently abled persons who have some physical problem participate in various events. Let us look at the first stanza of the poem. The athletes had come from so many countries to run for the gold, for the silver, and bronze. Many weeks and months in training, all building up to the games. Here, the poet tells us that several athletes had come from different countries around the world. They were competing for the gold, silver, or bronze medal. They had spent several weeks and even months training and preparing themselves to participate in the Special Olympics. Stanza 2. All round the field, the spectators were gathered, cheering on all the young women and men. Then, the final event of the day was approaching, the last race about to begin. A large number of spectators had gathered all around the field. They were cheering and encouraging the young men and women who had come to compete in the games. The last event of the day was about to begin. It was a race. Stanza 3. The loudspeakers called out the names of the runners, the 100 meters, the race to be run, and 9 young athletes stood there determined and poised for the sound of the gun. The names of the participants were announced on the loudspeakers. It was a 100-meter race. 9 athletes assembled at the starting line, determined to win the race. They took their positions and waited for the signal, which was the sound of the gun. Poised means to be balanced and ready. Stanza 4. The signal was given, the pistol exploded, and so did the runners on hearing the sound. But the youngest among them stumbled and staggered, and he fell on his knees to the ground. Here we see that the signal was given by firing the pistol. The 9 athletes began running at once. But unfortunately, the youngest athlete stumbled, lost his balance, and fell on his knees to the ground. Stanza 5. He gave out a cry of frustration and anguish. His dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. But as sure as I am standing here telling the story, now it's a strange one, but here's what occurred. In this stanza, we see that the boy who had fallen in between the race cried out in disappointment and mental agony or pain. His dream of winning the race was shattered, and all his hard work had gone in vain. The poet then goes on to say that what happened next on the field is unbelievable and strange, but it is as real as he is standing and narrating the story. Stanza 6. The 8 other athletes stopped in their tracks, the ones who had trained for so long to compete. One by one, they turned round and came back to help him and lifted the lad to his feet. When the other 8 athletes heard his cry, they stopped on their tracks. These athletes were the ones who had trained for so long to compete in this race and were probably on the verge of winning it. But now they turned around and came to help the fallen athlete. They helped him stand up on his feet. Stanza 7. Then all 9 runners joined hands and continued. The 100 meters reduced to a walk, and the banner above that said Special Olympics could not have been nearer the mark. Here, all the 9 athletes held each other's hands, and instead of running, they began walking. The 100-meter race had now become a walk. The huge banner above the stadium that had the words Special Olympics now seemed to get its true meaning. The event had become special indeed. Stanza 8. That's how the race ended. 9 gold medals. They came to the finish line holding hands still, and the banner above and 9 smiling faces said more than these words ever will. Said more than these words ever will. The race ended with all 9 athletes winning gold medals. Hand in hand, they walked to the finish line. It was a unique sight. The poet ends the poem by saying that the banner with the words Special Olympics on it and the 9 smiling faces said more than what words could ever convey. The last line is repeated to emphasize the exemplary action of the athletes. The themes highlighted in the poem are empathy and true sportsmanship. Sports teaches us several values like cooperation, sharing, and caring. Through this poem, the poet encourages us to develop empathy towards others. Empathy is the ability to put oneself in another's shoes and to feel what he or she feels. It helps us to understand what others are going through and thus offer emotional support. The 8 athletes also displayed the true spirit of sportsmanship by giving up their dream of winning the race to help the youngest athlete among them. The organizers awarded gold medals to all 9 contestants to honor their display of empathy and true sportsmanship. The poem 9 Gold Medals is a lyric. It has been written to be sung as a song with the accompaniment of music. There are 8 stanzas, each containing 4 lines except the last one. The last stanza has 5 lines. The last one is used for emphasis. The poem does not have a fixed rhyme scheme. In the 3rd stanza, the words run and gun are rhymed. In the 4th stanza, sound and ground are rhymed. And in the 7th stanza, walk and mark are rhymed. In the 8th stanza, will and still are the rhyming words and the word will is repeated. There are several examples of alliteration in the poem. In the line, he stumbled and staggered, the consonant sound sir is repeated. In the line, his dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt, the consonant sound der is repeated. In the line, and lifted the lad to his feet, the consonant sound l is repeated. Thank you.